verse 7, Prince Arjuna shifts from being a family member to being a student. He may not feel it fully, but at least he's on that trajectory. Karpanya dosho bahata swabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste hamshadimam tvam prapannam. The meter is different. Prince Arjuna is sharing this in a very sober way, a somber way. Still, we will share joy. In the first quarter, Karpanya has its root in kripa. What does kripa mean in English? Please share in the chat. For you, for all seekers. Kripa means grace, as you're sharing. Karpanya is an expression of this grace, often defined as compassion. But here, Prince Arjuna knows there's a dosha with his compassion. There is a fault. Upahata, and he is overwhelmed by the fault in this compassion. In other words, he has realized and is admitting everything he thought and said about escaping from this challenge to do this out of compassion. He does not feel compassionate. Here are some reflections. We're about to complete 4 years of meaningful mornings. We started on March 19th of 2020, when everyone was working from home, studying from home. People couldn't go on vacations. People couldn't go for massages. So self-care became a very important subject. And I'd recently shared in Florida, which is a fairly comfortable state. When I was in Florida, the temperature was 20 degrees Celsius. Here it's minus 20 degrees Celsius. I was sharing that a gauge of self-care is longevity. What you do, how long it lasts, is indicative of how real this self-care is. Okay? Now let's go more deep into this thought. If you care about another, you will facilitate what they need. And what is it that your family, community, society need? Joy. That's what they need. All of the gifts you gave for Christmas or the holidays, do you think the people you gave that to actually need that? It is joy, but you can only give what you have. If you don't have joy, how can you facilitate joy? That's what compassion is. When you fill yourself with joy to be able to facilitate what people need, that is not Prince Arjuna's intention. He's just escaping. Prichami, and so I am asking Tvam, that is Sri Krishna, about dharma, about responsibility, about the path. Why? Sammudha chetaha, because I am confused. I am very confused. This is such a beautiful verse. Again, he's admitting that he has justified what has come out of his mouth, that we should not fight this war because it will hurt people, etc. He's admitting this. it's almost like Prince Arjuna has realized that IQ has not worked for him. And he thought that he was so clear about life, but now he knows he's very confused about SQ. Acharya Gaurang had once shared, we all have PhDs. And when he had said that, everyone was so happy. Yeah, I would like to have a PhD. And he said, we have a PhD in justification. When you adopt a position, you're brilliant when it comes to justifying that position. I think it was 2001. And I just picked up my older sister from Buffalo, and I was driving over the Peace Bridge through Fort Erie to come back to Niagara. And I was driving fairly fast, and I saw a police officer in the other lane. I'm on the highway. And I saw the police officer turn in the median, which means that the police officer was going to come in, pay me a visit. So I exited on a random exit. And still I got pulled over. 2001, everyone. I'm a different person, okay? That was the last speeding ticket I've gotten. I've only had 2 speeding tickets in my life. Both happened when I was in university. So the police officer pulls me over and says, where do you live? And I said, in Niagara Falls. He said, why did you exit here? And I said, because I saw you. See how I was trying to justify not getting that speeding ticket? But then I was like Prince Arjuna, and I admitted, I saw you. I still got a ticket. But I think I've learned my lesson. We're in the 3rd quarter now. Yat Shreya. That which is of the nature of peace. Shreya is of the nature of peace. Nishchitam bruhi tanme. Tell me, how do I be peaceful? Tell me decisively. I thought I knew, but now I know I don't know. So I want you to tell me decisively. Again, so much beauty. Prince Arjuna is personalizing this. Me, as in me. Tell me. I'm not concerned about the Kauravas or Pandavas. This is a subjective science, so tell me, and tell me decisively. How old is Prince Arjuna as he's receiving this message? Please share in the chat. How old is he? He's around 85. He's older than most people who are joining us right now. He's also sensitive to time is running out. He has followed Preya. Preya is when you think you are going to be fulfilled by pleasure, possession, and position. He knows that has not worked, is not going to work. So now he wants to know about Shreya, which is being fulfilled by peace. And the 4th quarter, the quarter that triggers the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Shishyaha, disciple. Te, yours. Aham, I am. I am your disciple. What should our relationship be? Shadi mam tvam prapannam. As your disciple, I am at your feet. Teach me. Guide me. Help me. Opening this up a little bit. If you follow the sequence of words, again, Shishya means a disciple, one who is ready to change. And how does that happen? Through Shadi, that is teachings or guidance. What does Shadi mean in Hindi? Getting married, correct? Now our notion of marriage is legal. This is the unconditional marriage. For those who are married, we got married because our horoscope said it. Or the other family is rich. I married up. But this is the lasting marriage. And it leads to prapannam, or surrender. You let go of dependent joy. There's lots to reflect on this. Please reflect on this verse. The Bhagavad Gita is itself essential. We are exploring the essence of the essence. We are in chapter 2, which is the table of contents. We took up verse 7, where Prince Arjuna, at least verbally, evolves to become a disciple. Going through each quarter again, he admits what he was speaking out as karpanya, which is compassion, was actually not karpanya, not compassionate. Compassion comes from kripa. Kripa in English means grace. It is when you have a thought to change, to be a better version of yourself. If you have these thoughts, that is grace. If you don't have these thoughts, one is not available for such grace. Prince Arjuna is admitting that he disguised his compassion was only escaping. Only escaping. Now, zooming into this more, in the second quarter, Prince Arjuna shares he is very confused about his responsibility. I shared with all of you, we have a macro responsibility to integrate ourselves. This is practiced in our micro responsibilities. There are some who live just for the functional. If you ask them, who are you? What do you do? All they will think about and talk about is their profession. Earlier, I described them as workaholics. There are some who live for their families. And they've already been described as those who are attached. These are micro responsibilities, the functional, the familial. If one is not intentional, they'll never realize their macro responsibility to integrate. Prince Arjuna is admitting this. We tend to escape through our professions and relations, thinking we're doing this for our evolution. Are you? Prince Arjuna is so great, and he got caught. His ego tricked him. In the third quarter, what he wants to know very clearly is Shreya. Shreya is peace. Prince Arjuna, in his own reflection, knows he already has pleasure, possession, position, and this has not brought peace. So now he directly wants peace, needs peace. And so, in the last quarter, he asks for shadi, guidance. I can't help myself. I need to ask for help from someone who doesn't need help. That is Sri Krishna. He is Achyuta, the one who is independent. And I played on the word shadi. Shadi means marriage in Hindi. Our shadis tend to be very conditional. I'm sharing that as someone who's been married for many years. There's a legality, there's an exchange. But the relationship between a guide and a disciple is unconditional. I'm sharing that as a disciple. I know this to be my experience. After Prince Arjuna evolves to become a disciple, what does Sri Krishna do? None of you are doing this right now. He smiled. Sri Krishna smiles almost in a non-verbal way, sharing, don't worry, be happy. You said that you've surrendered. Now I will take over.